I am very, very excited to be the chair of the day today. Alyssa and I have known each other since we were probably knee-high to a bullfrog. We've been through a lot together, and yes, her mom has all of the photos if you need them. The dance costumes were not very friendly when we were kids. And I like to say that I'm pretty sure at this point she is my most successful relationship because I'm pretty sure I was like 4 the first time we met. I'm very excited today to introduce Pet Pack Rescue Initiative. It was founded in May of 2022. Since their inception, they have adopted out more than 500 dogs. They are an all foster-based facility, all volunteer run, relies solely on donations, adoption fees, and the very empty pockets of 2 teachers that have a desire to make the world a slightly better place. Individually, Alyssa has fostered more than 900 dogs and cats over her 15 years in rescue. I would like it to be noted that my family has only 6 of those animals. I will say that all of the animals in my home right now have come through Alyssa. She is perfect at knowing the dog that needs you before you know that you need the dog. Like Jason, we also expanded by 4 paws last week. So now the dogs outnumber the humans, but you know what, I wouldn't have it any other way. She has served on the board of directors for 10 years for another local rescue before she and a very good friend of hers created Pet Pack Rescue Initiative. Her partner in crime is Katie. She's also been a volunteer and foster trainer for Paws Giving Independence for the last 5 years. Over the years, she's had 5 therapy teams through Peoria Humane Society and fostered cats for PFS Shelter. Cats are something neither one of us ever thought would come into our lives, but here we are several decades later. She is a single mom to an almost 14-year-old 8th grader named Shayla that she adopted 7 years ago. She has taught in District 150 at Ridgewoods High School since 2011. She currently serves as the electives department chair, teaches health sciences, which consists of sports medicine and 4 dual credit college courses. As the school's athletic trainer, she also covers all varsity sports, provides injury prevention, recovery, and assessment in a fully equipped athletic training room. As if that's not enough, she also has been an adjunct professor at ICC for the last 10 years. So I'm very proud to introduce very long-time friend Alyssa, and she can talk to you about Pet Pack Rescue Initiative.
Thank you for having me today, and it was kind of fun to see some of my connections. Ashley lives 2 doors down from me for another couple of weeks. I just bought a new house, so we're moving, and I've had both Emily and Sarah, which are Jeff's daughter and stepdaughter, and Folsey worked with me at Ridgewoods for a number of years, so we miss him greatly, but I'm sure he's enjoying retired or semi-retired life. So it's nice to see some of the connections that are in the room. Thank you for having me today. We were co-founded, as Jenny said, in May of 2022, and having been involved in rescue for a long time, you think you know a lot about what you're doing, and then you learn that nonprofit is a whole beast on its own when you're co-founding something new. And I think we all hate the IRS, so I'm just going to say I don't like the IRS. They messed up our paperwork, and it's been a process, but we're working through it. This little guy up here actually is from Arkansas. He's one of my current fosters. His name is Isaiah, so I'll point them out as we go through. So a little bit about our background. As was noted, we were founded in 2022. Both of us left a different local large rescue and kind of decided to do our own thing. And we were doing what's called rogue fostering, like working for a bunch of different groups. And we liked our experiences, but we also kind of missed having final say on where our dogs were placed. So we decided to do our own thing. So you've got my background. Katie is an ESL teacher in the Dunlap school system, and she's been there since 2010. So she's also a longtime teacher, and we both love education. So that's a little bit about us. I've been in rescue for 15 years. Katie's been in rescue for about 6 years. We are all foster based, and people like to ask us. We currently have, not counting foster to adopt situations, like the Mott family, they're a foster to adopt family for us right now. We currently have about 55 different foster homes that we manage. We run anywhere between 80 and 100 dogs at a time. If you throw in our foster to adopt, it's about 120 dogs under our care at one time. So it's a lot of dogs, a lot of spreadsheets to help track all that as well. We are also very much based in this area. So we go anywhere from Galesburg west to Bloomington Normal on the east and everywhere in between. So we'll talk a little bit more about where those partners are in just a minute. In 2022, we thought Katie and I actually thought, to be honest with you, that we would start our own thing. We'd have 8 to 10 foster homes, maybe a dog or two at a time in each home. So we'd have up to 20 dogs at a time. And it very quickly exploded because if you follow anything on social media, the need for animal rescue right now is great. Every animal control is full. They're euthanizing for space. And there's breeder releases that are overbreeding their dogs and they're not selling them, which is how we end up with dogs like Conan that's in our care. The breeder didn't want him to grow up in the facility, so she sent him to us. So in 2022, we had 151 adoptions. I just checked the spreadsheet this morning. As of this morning, we're at 365 adoptions since January for this year. We'll gross 400, probably 450 adoptions this year. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and it's very involved, but we love what we do. The little guy there is Trip, and he actually came from, if anyone watched the show, Pit Bulls and Parolees on Animal Planet for a number of years, he's actually from there. So they don't just send us pit bulls, they send us other things. One of our current fundraisers that we're running, we just like to be catchy and cute. It's Donuts for No Nuts. He'll be losing his nuts in a couple of weeks. Yeah, we're a little crass at times, but we're okay with that. So that's one of our current fundraisers. We rely heavily on those in order to be successful. So if you like apple cider, if you're an apple cider person, not a pumpkin person, apple cider donuts. Katie came over there. Katie knows that. Yes. So some of our vetting that we go through, I listed our rescue partners up there, but you can see it takes a village in order to get our dogs successfully placed. We have a number of dogs in our care, and those are the vets that we work with in town. Most of our vets are local. None of them are a big chain or anything like that. We also, by state law, have to do certain things, and then as a rescue, we do certain things. So when we say we vet our dogs, what we mean by that is we get them all of their shots. We get them fixed. They're all microchipped. All of our puppies are dewormed, and then we also run fecal samples to make sure that they're not going into somebody else's house with things they shouldn't be going into. The dogs that you see on the screen, the top dog is Harmony. We've had her since June. She's been with us a little longer than we anticipated. She's 7 months old from Arkansas. The dog at the bottom is Abra, like abracadabra. We call her Abby. She currently is living at my house with me. Abby is a special needs dog because she's a little picky with her people and it takes her time. But the point to that is I've had her since May. We'll take our time and we'll find the right placement for her. And then the dog up on top, she's wearing a unicorn costume because it is Halloween season, and that's Dottie. So we do have pit bulls. We like our pit bulls. We like our bully breeds. Jen's adopted bully breeds from me, but we have kind of everything in between. So people ask us where our dogs come from, and I'm probably not going to follow it because I'm not wearing my glasses. You hit the age of 40 and you can't read things as well. But our dogs come from all over the place. Locally, we work a lot with paws or PCAPs, if you're more familiar with that. We also work with Fulton County in Canton and with Woodford County out in the Germantown Hills, Metamora area. So the dogs up here are from a comprehensive list of places. Top right, it's not the same brindle dog, that's his sister. Her name is Isabella. She's from Forest City, Arkansas. The little dog, the little terrier down here on the right is Curry. She's also from New Orleans. She's a Villalobos dog. The little dog with the mums is Dibs. He's a special needs dog. He actually is from a commercial breeder. Breeders don't always have the same standards that we would like them to have. Some are great and some are not. His breeder actually, he does not have a back foot and he's missing part of his paw on one other foot. It doesn't stop him from being active. So he's very active cockapoo that's still looking for his family. And then down on the bottom, that is a Beagle Dachshund mix named Roy. So you can kind of see we have a little bit of everything, but we get them from all over the place, like the couple local, and then we also pull from Arkansas, 4 or 5 different groups there. Villalobos, which is a really cool organization to work with. I think Katie was going to fangirl herself last year. We had to do a phone call with Tia Torres, like the Tia Torres. And so it was kind of interesting, and she was trying not to blush as she's talking to her on the phone. Last October at this time, we actually got to go down to New Orleans and to Assumption Parish, and we stayed on Tia's property overnight. It's beautiful. It's really fun, but it's nothing fancy. It's very much a great organization to partner with. So we've been excited to have that. And then we also pull from Southern Illinois and the Chicagoland area as well. So our dogs kind of come from all over the place. In fostering for the pack, a lot of people say, well, what does it cost me? It doesn't actually cost our foster homes anything to foster for us as an organization, and we're very small. I mean, we have a lot of fosters, but we don't have a lot of money because we're so new. We managed to figure it out, and that's kind of Katie's work. We make it work. We go a little Tim Gun in that regard. So with our Tim Gun philosophy of make it work, we supply things for our foster homes. things like food, crates, supplies, treats, dog beds, leashes, collars, everything that you would need if you were getting a new dog in your home. And those dogs come in, and we talk about letting the dogs decompress once they're in the home. So for a lot of these dogs, they've undergone a lot of change. It could be that their owner died, their owner dumped them, they were unwanted litters. We've had dogs that, one of the dogs I fostered, it was a domestic violence situation, and she actually was found with the knife that her owner stabbed the other person with in the home, and she had the bloody knife between her paws. So it can be that extreme, or it can just be that they were an unwanted litter. We ended up with those dogs in our care, and some of them, they're ready to go right away. I mean, Jenny had Neville, who was a cute little puppy, and he was ready to go right away. He's a little mischievous, but he's great. And some of our dogs are with us a little bit longer. So it just kind of depends on how long we have these dogs. But with fostering, we supply our fosters with what they need. We use partner vets, which I listed on a previous slide that we work with, and we cover the medical bills as a rescue. So the fundraising that we do and the adoption fees that we raise help to offset those costs. We never really break even because it's rescue, and rescue is expensive. And then the commitment in time, it really depends. Some of the dogs I had a beagle last week that came in, Roy's brother. I had him for about 5 days, and he went foster to adopt with a family that needs him. And then I also have had dogs like Abra that I've had since May. So it really depends on what we get. The dogs here, Rubble is our little puppy at top, and he's from Villalobos. Jack is down on the left. He's a Catahoula. He's from Livingston Parish. And then Rose over here on the right is also from Livingston Parish, which is outside of New Orleans. It's the Baton Rouge area specifically. So the adoption process that we go through, we do outreach events every month. We'll actually be at My Dog's Bakery from 1 to 3 this Saturday. And we go there every month because we also believe in supporting small local businesses. So that's one of the organizations that's supportive of us, and she's adopted from us, so we support her in turn. You go to our website, which is listed on there, petpackrescueinitiative.com. And funny point on this, Katie and I were sitting at Pizza Works in the Heights, and we were talking about kind of what we wanted to do, and I was like, you know what, screw it, let's just start a rescue. And she's like, are you crazy? And I said, yeah. So then we started throwing around names, and Pet Pack Rescue Initiative. Initiative is a really great word. That's what our attorney Karen told us from Royal Heister. And it is a great word, except when you're trying to spell it and type stuff in. You have to remember it's initiative. I can't tell you how many times we've misspelled it when we're trying to put stuff in, but other people do too. So we go by Pet Pack quite a bit. It might be my biggest regret in life is that initiative, but it is a good word. So we do take the initiative, and we ask people to fill out the application on our website. What happens is the dog comes to the home. Sometimes we just tell people they're coming, or we do like Jason did, and it's a family friend or a coworker to not let kids know that they're coming. But we set up a meet and greet or a home visit, and the dog comes into the home. We like to see how they do with other animals in the home, dogs, cats, chinchillas, guinea pigs, whatever you have. We like to check it out. A couple of potbelly pigs too. We've had some dogs have to interact with those. And then after that, sometimes we do a couple of hours of an extended visit where we make sure that everything's okay without us there. And sometimes we do foster to adopt, which is usually medical or behavioral. So let me use Jason again. In his case, Conan came into us. Conan is not fixed yet. So I think he's getting fixed in a week or two. Yeah, next week. So he's going to be the foster home for that dog. Legally with the state of Illinois, we can't adopt them out unless they're fixed. So Jason's got the dog in his home. It's his family pet, but we're still covering the medical until he's adopted out. And then we'll finalize adoption next week once he has been fixed. We always look for the best fit of the dog. We get people in rescue in general, not just us. They get upset because they apply for a dog. Some of our dogs get 15 or 20 applications, and some of our dogs get 1. But at the end of the day, we want it to be best placement, not just for the dog, but also for the family. And there are some families that apply, and they're great families, but I wouldn't leave a pet rock there, to be blunt. And so I'm not going to leave a dog there. And there are other people who they're really good people, and they'd be a great fit for the dog, but they decide it's not a fit for them. And that's okay too. So that's why we do home visits, because we want to make sure it's good on both ends. And then we try to place the right dog. Some people will apply for multiple dogs and they miss it because of like the 4th application or the 3rd application each time. But then eventually we find them the dog that is the fit for them. So once the application is on file, we keep it on file. This little guy is from Forest City, and he is about 7 months old. A couple other facts about us, we're getting to the end there, but we also this year, for the first time, Katie and I wanted to pull international dogs. So we worked with a partner organization in the United States because we are not USDA licensed, nor do I want to go through that process yet. Dina is one of our international dogs, and then I just adopted Merlin a couple of weeks ago. They were from the Ukraine. So when the Ukraine war started, There were several different organizations that went in, including the ASPCA. They pulled a bunch of dogs that were running on the streets to get them to safety. So they came through Poland and then ended up at Big Dog Ranch down in Florida. And then they were transferred out to different organizations across the United States. So Dina and Merlin were with us. Merlin really is not adoptable. You can sort of touch him. I'm teaching him touch. So he'll come up and boop. We call it boop. He'll boop my hand. He loves my dogs. He loves my cats, but he's not an adoptable dog. So I've lost 4 dogs personally in the last year, plus a hospice dog. I decided he was just going to stay with me because that happens sometimes. So I foster failed and I kept him. He actually speaks English. He does not speak Ukrainian. People think that like he always understands Ukrainian. We did try Google Translate with him and he looked at me like I was an idiot. So he does understand me in English and he does know his name. So Dina is still currently adoptable. Katie, the other co-founder, has her and she's a great dog. We also have a small hospice program. We work with an organization called Live Like Grew out of the Chicago area. And sometimes if dogs have cancer or they're just kind of dumped because the owners don't want to deal with it themselves, they'll send them to different rescues and they help us to cover some of the vet bills for that. So in the last year, we've had 3 hospice dogs, 2 expected, 1 unexpected. Roxy and Pops were both 13 and 15 respectively. They had cancer. The owners literally dumped them in animal control and walked away. They didn't do the right thing for the dog. So they came to us. Roxy was with us for about 3 weeks. I fostered her. Pops was with my friend Jamie Brandt, and she fostered him, and he had him about 4 months, and he lived a great life. And then Rooster came to us as a breeder release. He's a standard poodle. He ended up having a seizure disorder that none of us were aware of, and unfortunately, he lived with his foster to adopt family for about a month and passed away just last month. So rescue is not always fun and games. Sometimes it's hard, but it's worth it, and that's the thing. Most of you that own pets know that even though they pass away and they move on, having that pet is an integral part of your life or your kids' lives. And I would do it all over again. And I tell my daughter that all the time. We also treat heartworm, which is really expensive. So we've treated 24 cases of that, cherry eye, 16 cases, and then we've had 30 other major medical cases since we were co-founded last year. Volunteering for us, we do have volunteers. Up on your left is a dog from Lori Salmi's fostering her. She runs a small nonprofit tax firm. But Celeste is from Missouri. In the middle is Ragamuffin is his name. He was dumped at Villalobos. He looks like a ragamuffin. He doesn't like cats. He likes everything else. Up in the right, she just came last night. That's actually a Karki. So that is a Cairn Terrier Yorkie mix. She looks a little bit like Toto. Yeah, she came in with a stupid name. Her owner named her Muck, as in Muck Luck Boots. And she's female, so we've changed it to McKenna, Mac for short. She came from a not great situation, and a friend of mine that's in rescue called me last night and said, I've got her, I'm bringing her to you. I said, okay. So I unexpectedly got another foster. When you talk about having too many dogs in the home, I taught Jenny. This weekend I had 15 dogs in my house and my 2 cats. I was dog sitting 3 of them, but the others were fosters or my personal dogs. So you can have, it's a lot. And then Abra is at the bottom again. So thanks for volunteering for us. We have outreaches, we have fundraisers. We also have dog dates where people can take one of our foster dogs out on a date as long as it's vetted. They hang on to him for a couple of hours and then bring him back to us as a foster. So one of our younger volunteers, Bridget, she likes to take my dogs out and she'll take them to like coffee shops, Barnes and Noble, wherever is dog friendly, socializes them, get some pictures. It's kind of nice because we just see them outside of our environment and how they do with her. And then they bring them back. And then we also have committees, just like you guys have committees for different committee work. One of our big events in the winter is puppy yoga. We host it down at the Sunbeam building and it's January, February, March. Sometimes April we'll do it too. But basically we bring a bunch of puppies in. Yoga is optional, but we do have yoga going on and little puppies crawl all over you. And yeah, they have not peed on anybody yet, but they do have accidents occasionally. So puppy yoga is really a great event. It's good socialization and it's fun. These are some of our upcoming events that we have going on. I just pulled our calendar up, which we have available. But this weekend, if you're not busy during the day and if it doesn't rain, we're actually hosting mini golf at Mount Holly Bowl. It's $25 a person. We get all the proceeds. And then from 1 to 4, Olympia was kind enough to donate 10% back. So if you just want to go for lunch at Olympia from 1 to 4, we get 10% of the proceeds on that. If you like to have pictures with Santa, one of our board members runs Legacies Photography, and she is doing photos with Santa at My Dog's Bakery. It's supposed to be for any pet. We had a snake last year, a boa constrictor. It was really cool. You could also bring your kids, but we have an actual Santa. You don't want to be around a boa constrictor? No. Jenny doesn't like snakes, for the record, if you want to prank her at the next meeting, just so you know. And then we have a bunch of events coming up. So we do a lot of outreaches. It is a lot of time, but we all love it. We're passionate about it, and that's why we do it. I started 15 years ago volunteering for Paws and Taps, actually. I've had through the Humane Society as a therapy dog. My last dog actually just passed away about a month and a half ago from that, and my mom still has a therapy team through them as well. So we rely solely on our volunteers, and again, Jenny's my friend who's adopted for me a bunch of times, but Katie and I are the two co-founders, and we keep busy with it, we love it, and we enjoy being able to help make families' lives complete. So that was a pretty quick overview, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. There's our social media hashtags. Avocado up on the right was taken to a local boarding facility. His family went on vacation and then refused to pay their bill and come back and pick him up. So he was left. Brian, the guy that runs the boarding facility, just wanted him to find a new home, reached out. So he's there for right now. There's a volunteer that goes in and brings him to stuff. He will be moving into one of our foster homes when she gets back from her vacation this week. So Avocado was kind of a last minute dump. And then the bottom two, TJ's the white and Washi is the black. They come from Villalobos, and we are happy to have all of them. And there's our social media. So you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
If you want to stay up there, we'll see if there's any questions.
Yeah, I got one
I
online.
can tell you that as her neighbor with those 15 dogs, we don't hear them. We don't see them, anything like that, so.
So we have one question online so far. When do you work with any breed-specific rescues?
So we're considered an all-breed rescue. Yes, we work with some breed-specific. We don't typically transfer dogs out that are breed-specific because most of us within our organization have experience with specific breeds, if that makes sense. So we're comfortable pulling in dogs like Dobermans, Rottweilers, any of the furry, like any of the fluffy things that come in. We're comfortable with that because we have enough experience. So we work on our own as our own rescue.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What kind of, do you have a facility or do you just have a house with a large yard or?
So we're all foster based, which means in Illinois, the way we're licensed, it's as an in-shelter, in-name only. We do have an office. We actually rent an office from a junker. He's in the back and we're in the front. So if anyone's heard of Hall's Hauling, Jason, he's a great guy. We rent the front office part and then he has the warehouse part behind us. And it's just an office, it's some storage. It's where we meet, it's where we do meet and greets, but we don't have kennels like Taps or Sam's or any of those. So I'm moving to a house with a nice large yard and no neighbors behind me, which will be really nice.
So thanks. Also, why do you travel so far? Are you the only organization that does this? It seems like you're on the road to New Orleans and...
So we don't actually travel to pick up our dogs most of the time. We have transporters. So there's people that will work, like Southern Illinois, there's a coordinator that will get legs set up so the dogs will come to us. Villalobos brings all of their dogs to us. They actually prefer to transport their own dogs. And then they come all the way to Peoria, or they'll stop in Peoria on their way to like other places throughout the country. I've been to Villalobos once, and that's more because I'd never been to New Orleans and wanted to go. And we were the first group they let transport their own dogs back because we've done it so many times. The Chicago rescues, we will go up to where we have a volunteer, Rob Buckman. He used to run a photography studio in Morton. He's one of our main drivers, and he'll volunteer for us.
Got another question over here.
So I fostered a couple of dogs before, and I highly recommend it to anyone. It is such a great thing. The first dog, well, we weren't really basset hound people. So luckily, another couple who were adopted Cleo. So that was wonderful, but we did foster her for a few months, and it was just a blast. And then the second dog that we fostered was the cutest little Pekingese on the planet, and we ended up adopting him. So you don't have to adopt every single dog that you foster, because just fostering is a wonderful, wonderful thing for that dog. And but I do have friends that they do adopt every single one they foster.
You find the thing that you don't like about them. It's kind of like with your grandkids or your nieces and nephews. You find the thing you like them, they're good to be there for a while, and it's like, okay, you can go home now. That's kind of what I do with a lot of it. Like, I like to foster puppies, but I don't want to go through the whole potty training thing again. So that's why Jen adopts them, or other people I know adopt them. I don't want to fully potty train another puppy again. So I'm good with them staying for a week or two and then bye. So, and then we all have our preferences. I mean, honestly, my favorites to foster: Great Pyrenees, Dobermans, and mini Schnauzers. I don't own any of those. But I do, and Chow's actually, I owned a Chow for a long time. They're an expensive breed to own, so I loved having her. And when she passed away, I said I'd never own another one, but I will foster them. So fostering is nice because you get a lot of breed experience.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you, Alyssa.